All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We're tracking an active, and I mean escalating threat to development infrastructure across the globe. Your immediate attention here is absolutely critical.
The threat we're looking at is CVE-2021-22175. It's a vulnerability in GitLab. And yeah, it was patched way back in 2021. But listen, this is no longer some dusty historical footnote. Right now, it is the centerpiece of a massive, ongoing exploitation campaign that is tearing through unpatched systems. And let me be clear, age doesn't make a vulnerability any less dangerous.
Okay, let's get specific. The threat vector here is a Server-Side Request Forgery, or SSRF. Now, what is that? It's a really nasty architectural flaw that essentially lets an attacker turn your own server into a weapon against you, a pivot point right inside your own network.
So here's the bottom line, and this is the crucial part. An attacker with absolutely no credentials, zero access, they can craft a special request that forces your trusted GitLab server to start poking around your internal network. We're talking probing, attacking, and pulling out data from your private infrastructure. Think about that. All those services you thought were safely firewalled off from the outside world, suddenly they're wide open. The whole point of this advisory is to give you actionable intel right now. The original patch just wasn't enough. So what we're doing is providing the hard data you need to drive immediate mitigation and lock down your perimeter. Make no mistake, the window for you to act is closing. Fast.
Okay, before we get into the technical deep dive, we're going to establish a secure comms channel. This is just standard operating procedure for disseminating real-time threat intel. Pay attention.
I need you to execute the following 3 steps. 1. Subscribe to this channel. Think of it as your dedicated intel feed for emerging threats. 2. Hit the like button. That serves as your formal acknowledgement, your ACK, that you've received this advisory. And 3. Comment with your patch status. Just type patched or vulnerable. This is a census, and it is absolutely critical for us to gauge the operational blast radius of this thing.
All right, comms check complete. Let's move on. We're now going into the deep dive to dissect the anatomy of this exploit. Look, understanding the how is the key to building an effective defense. Okay, so the attack vector is the CI-Lint API endpoint. And here's the first problem. It requires zero authentication. An attacker sends a simple JSON payload using the include remote directive and points it to an internal IP address. Now, if, and this is a big if, the server is misconfigured to allow these internal requests, which, by the way, is a pretty common setting even if it's not the default, then the server just dutifully fetches that internal URL. It is a simple, elegant, and devastatingly effective exploit.
Now, this is where things get interesting and, frankly, a bit concerning. There's a huge discrepancy in the risk assessment here. GitLab originally rated this a 6.8 medium. Why? They cited that non-default setting as a mitigating factor. NIST, on the other hand, correctly rated it a 9.8 critical. They focused on the catastrophic impact if the exploit works. And you know what? Threat actors exploit configurations, not defaults. That's the key takeaway.
And let me be clear, this is not some theoretical exercise. We're going to look at the real-world weaponization timeline now. This is the story of the 2025 exploitation surge.
So just look at this timeline. Patches were out in early 2021. For years, yeah, exploitation was pretty opportunistic, kind of low-level noise. But then, boom, March 9th, 2025. A coordinated global campaign just kicks off, eventually leading to a CISA alert in 2026. This vulnerability's long tail is a serious lesson in just how persistent these threats can be. And here is the scale of what I can only call a collective failure. In late 2025, that's years after a patch was available, internet-wide scans confirmed over 107,000 GitLab instances were still exposed, still vulnerable. Every single one of those is a potential backdoor into a corporate network. Our intelligence on this is crystal clear. This was not random noise. During that big surge in March, 61% of the malicious source IPs originated from Iran. You know what that points to? A highly coordinated, well-resourced, and strategic campaign to map and compromise targets on a global scale. And we're not talking about script kiddies here. The attackers' tactics are sophisticated. We're seeing chained reconnaissance. They're using other flaws, like one in Grafana, to map out the internal network first. Then, they use this SSRF as the pivot point for lateral movement. We've linked this to groups like the China Nexus actor Silk Typhoon, who are deploying advanced C# backdoors, stuff like Grimbolt. This is the work of top-tier adversaries, plain and simple.
Okay, the threat has been defined. Now we pivot to the solution. This is the mitigation protocol. And I want to be clear, immediate execution is required. You need to take immediate action on two fronts. First, upgrade your GitLab instance, get to a patched version. The details are right there for you. Second, and do not skip this, you must go into your admin settings and disable allow requests to the internal network for webhooks. That second step is absolutely critical because it removes the prerequisite that makes this whole exploit possible.
But look, patching is not enough. The real point here is building a resilient architecture. That means implementing network-level egress filtering. You want to block your GitLab server from making any unauthorized outbound calls. And for those of you in the cloud, harden your security. Migrate to IMDS v2. That's what's going to protect your instance metadata and credentials from being snatched by this kind of SSRF attack.
Just to underscore how severe this threat is, let's look at the official government response. The weaponization of this flaw actually prompted a mandate from CISA.
And this gets to the heart of why we're doing this public disclosure. A patch alone clearly wasn't enough to secure the ecosystem. You, the user, need to understand that this 5-year-old flaw has been resurrected. It is now a clear and present danger to the entire software supply chain.
So on February 18, 2026, CISA added this CVE to its known exploited vulnerabilities catalog. Now, this isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a mandate under Binding Operational Directive 2201. Federal agencies were given a hard deadline of March 11th to get their patches applied. When the government does this, it's a massive signal that the threat is active, it's severe, and it requires immediate action from absolutely everyone.
All right, the intelligence has been delivered, the mitigation protocol is defined. The responsibility to act is now yours. Stay secure.